Okay, so we're going to talk about another project going on in the UF Deer Lab, and this is Kelsey Domeni, is a graduate student in our lab that's studying oak masting. And you may have heard about one of the experiments that we did. It was long-term. I was involved as a graduate student, actually, with Craig Harper, and he's presented some of the information where we looked over a long term in many white oaks, whether or not releasing the canopy. So in other words, killing the trees around it to allow the canopy to expand, and fertilizing had any effect on masting. And we put that out in various ways to landowners to try to help you think about how you want to manage oaks. But this project is another long-term project that Kelsey is the first student on, where we are going to transition to try to learn some other things about oaks. So we're not really focused on how many acorns are falling, but instead when they are falling and the factors that are influencing that. Are there things that you could do to actually influence when the oak is dropping? How do they differ across species? All of those sorts of things. So Kelsey, you want to talk about what we have set up here and kind of what you're measuring and finding?
Yeah, so I'm monitoring over 800 trees, and this seed trap is just one of the ways that I monitor them. It can catch the acorns as they're falling, and have a camera here that's just seen to see like which acorns are being stolen. You know, we know that squirrels are going in there and taking acorns out of that, so that's just a good way to monitor that. And then we also have a camera on the on the tree monitoring the oak itself, in order to see which animals are coming under the oak, under the canopy, and consuming the acorns. And those could be animals such as deer, turkeys, squirrels, pigs, raccoons, and we're just interested in seeing what the animal is doing and if they're consuming the acorns underneath the tree.
Yeah, so that's really interesting, because I mean, we all have heard it and said it. I know I've said it, and I've visually observed it while I was sitting on a tree stand. It seems like there are some oaks that deer just like more. You may have a bunch of white oaks, like this white oak right here, and you have one that's your favorite to have the deer stand on because it seems like the deer congregate at that one. That's a way that we could actually look and see across all these individuals, are there actually favorite trees, and are they the same favorites for squirrels and deer and turkeys? So that's a really cool aspect. But you found some other cool stuff already. So this is the first year we've monitored this over an 8-year project. But
yeah, so we've been looking at the when the acorns are dropping from these trees throughout the season, and what we found is actually it varies individually, both like across species and within the species itself. And so some trees are dropping acorns in October or late November. Other trees, it's even December, so it really varies.
And I think the important thing is we knew, and people know, that the different species, like a white oak and a northern red oak, drop at a different time. But you're talking about just one species.
Yeah,
like individuals of the same species have wildly different time.
Even trees that are on the same site, like within my same study site.
They literally could be all individuals right here, where we have 20 of them marked, and all 20 are going to have their own pattern that can be even months different, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
We didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, Kelsey's doing the first few years of the study, and then actually the idea is that we're going to go in and do some things like release some of the really good producers and see, do we affect when they are dropping. And there actually is some information in the literature on other species that produce nuts, that if you change the competition with other trees or release their canopy, that it actually could shift when they flower and when subsequently the acorns fall. So you may even have some ability to manipulate that on an individual basis within a species. So that's pretty cool, and definitely a valuable tool. And we're going to keep you up to date on this project as we go. We only have 1 year of data now, but we're ramping up to get a second this fall.
Yep, getting ready. Pretty exciting. So